Don't compete to be the best. Compete to be unique.
Welcome to a new episode of the DefDevice podcast. My special guest today is Mr. Ronen from 10x Spring. Welcome, Ronen.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you
I'm
for
doing
having
good.
me here.
Yeah. It's been a long time, man. We have been in touch for many years now over the interwebs. We never met in person, but online we've met many times, and we have been doing some things together. And
Yeah.
I mean, I really love to hear your story today and share how you became the person you are today. But first of all, let us know, what is Ronen doing today and what is 10x Spring about?
Okay. So let me tell you a little story, okay? Because I think it's important to
Stories are good.
understand what I do right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you know, until recently, I was more of a consultant, working with CEOs, on their brands, their vision, their strategy, and so on. And although we had huge successes with our clients, some more, some less, we got them to 3x, 5x, even 10x. I always felt
Wow.
that there's something missing, that I could be more effective. So I went and read tons of business books. Jim
Mhm.
Collins, Patrick Lencioni, Michael Porter, Vern Harnish. I don't know. Do you know those names or any
Some of them
of
sound
them?
familiar, but not. I don't think I've read their books now.
Okay, so those are basically like the top, I would say, top business thought leaders, and each of them brings like different idea, about how to handle business, if it's strategy, if it's cash, finance, and so on and so forth. Uh, but the problem is that they are all disconnected. So a lot of time, my clients will go and try this or try that, but it usually doesn't work because there's no there's nothing to put everything together. Because if you talk more about strategy, so what about cash, or what about your people, and so on and so forth. For example, strategy. Um, Dana, what is strategy for you? Business strategy.
Wow, that is a dude. Now I am on a hot seat here. What is strategy? Well, I
Yeah,
think
what is strategy?
strategy means to be aware of where you are today, and then to have a goal where you want to be, and to have a plan how you're going to get from where you are today to where you want to be. That is, like, in a short sentence, what strategy is for me.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good. Um, I think that, for example, strategy is hugely misunderstood. I had my MBA, and even after I had my MBA, and you learn all this stuff, about strategy, and I was confused about what is it, because they throw at you vision, mission, purpose, value, and
Yeah,
so on. And I worked even with people who knows a lot about it, and there's always vision or mission or purpose, that it's really
yeah.
hard to tell. And if you mix the military strategy in, then you lose it altogether, because how come military strategy has to do with business strategy, um, and then one of my I read a book by Shannon Sasky, and it's called The Three Hag Ways. Um, and then everything fell into place, for me. And because Shannon, she bring all those thought leaders together, all those ideas, and she made a system, one system that works all the parts of business all together. And that's what it called Metronomics. That's the system that she created. You can see it here. That's Metronomics.
Oh, it's in your on your
Um,
shirt. Wow.
yeah.
Mm,
I'm
mm.
actually
Ambassador.
with the right shirt. Um, and there's nothing like it. I was searching for years for something that will put things together, and there's nothing like Metronomics. Really,
Mm,
Metronomics like put all the system of the business, including people, including strategy, including execution, cash, and so on and so forth. It all come together under Metronomics. And that's basically what I do. I'm a
mm,
Metronomics coach, and I help companies, and especially I work with CEOs and their leadership team. We usually work with the team. Uh, what
mm,
what we say is that um, as a sports team, like football, soccer, or American football, it's all mixed up, basketball, etc. You can't find a good team, or the one that goes well beyond everyone, without a coach. So how do you expect a business to not having a coach? So, and
mm,
we actually adapted um, some terms from sports, like 18 players that you need in your business, team cohesiveness, huddle. Do you know what's a huddle in American
no,
football?
no.
Huddle is like, when they all join, before the quarterback will throw the ball. So they all come together and they talk and they decide about the game plan. That's the
Mm,
huddle. Okay.
all
So
right.
we use that as well. We talk about um, the fact that in business, if you don't see the full view of your business, what we called open field view, you don't know what's going on in your
Mm,
business. So all
mm,
those
mm,
things together, um, bring all the system together, and that's what I do. I help
mm.
those CEOs, you know, grow their businesses much faster than they ever imagined possible.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, basically that's what I do.
Holy cow.
Um,
That is, well, I must say, you have surprised me just now, because I had a wrong idea of what you do on your daily basis, and but I also noticed that you did some transformation
yeah,
in what you're doing. But this, I mean, this strategy stuff sounds really exciting, and I'm and as you say, like, there's no sports team that can succeed without a coach, and if you're the guy who can help businesses to succeed, then yeah, I think that is
yeah,
a fantastic approach, and something that is of very high value for millions and millions of businesses out there. So you should be very busy, man.
yeah. I'm getting more and more busy.
Yeah,
Uh,
cool.
yeah, and usually those companies come for several and work with us for several years, because it's a process. It's not something that, do
Mm,
that and that's it. So it's not. So usually
mm,
usually we have like 2-day kickoff meetings that we start working on some ideas around their strategy. And the first year is usually all about the team, and we call it the foundation year, because without
mm,
a good team, you can't get anything done. As we say, team, a bad team, it's strategy for breakfast. You can have the best strategy, but if you don't have the right team to
yeah.
execute it, you're going nowhere. So the first year is the foundation year. The second year is the momentum year, where we actually start seeing the growth. In the first year, it depends on your team. If you have a good team already, you would see the growth in the first year. If not, usually it takes a year or so to put everything together. Sometimes you need to replace some of the team players. of your leadership and so on and so forth.
Mm,
And then the third year we call the compounding year. That's where the real growth happens,
mm, mm,
and it works like charm. It works
mm,
every time. And the main important things here is that the CEO, if he wants to make a change, he needs to be ready to evolve, to change the way he thinks, because without him open to try and do things in different way that they do right now, nothing will happen. So that's the most important thing.
mm. Wow. Wow. So yeah, it's about transformation, and it's a long-term process. So I mean, cool. So your clients stick with you for at least 3 years, and then maybe longer.
Yeah,
That is
usually more.
that is
Yeah.
good. I'm curious about this Metronomics thing. Can you just give us a very quick breakdown of what it is about? What is Metronomics?
So basically, Metronomics is what I explained. It's a system of coaching that includes all the business
Mm,
parts.
okay, like a holistic
Uh,
coaching system.
yeah. It's a
Oh, yeah, yeah.
system, and Metronomics also has its own software where you can actually work all
Oh,
everything. You can see all your team, how they're doing, if they meet their targets, um, and you can have everything there. And
mm,
we have what we call the one-page plan, where you can see the full picture in one
mm,
glance. And
wow.
it's much more complex than that.
Mm-hmm.
It has
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many
I mean,
things.
I understand you cannot explain a whole coaching system in 2 minutes. That's,
Yeah,
but yeah, maybe we can put a link under this video for people to look, to learn more about this,
yeah.
because it sounds very interesting to me. Uh,
Metronomics.com. That's the place. And
all right.
if
There
yeah,
you go. As simple as it gets. Metronomics.com. All right. So whoever
yeah,
wants to know more about Metronomics can go there. Who
yeah,
wants to know more about Ronen? I guess there will be another link. But
yeah.
first of
My
all, of course,
LinkedIn will do.
yeah, your LinkedIn. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I will
Yeah.
include that in the description
Uh,
as well.
all right.
Yeah, so now let's dive into the life journey, Mr. Ronen, man. So, as you know, our podcast is about entrepreneurial life journeys. And I know you have been doing quite a few things before Metronomics as well. So let us meet 10-year-old Ronen. What was he
Yeah.
like?
Oh, he was really curious. Um,
Curious guy.
um, yeah, I would just get anything that I could read, and I usually dive into some interesting things. Like I remember astronomy, for example, was a huge
Mm.
thing for me. I just read and read and read, and then I went to an observatory, an astronomical observatory, and
Oh.
I surprised them, the astronomers, of how much I knew about the planets and the whatever.
Mm.
Um, but I was a very curious 10 years old. My mom always she tells that I always would ask her questions on everything, and then she said, "Hey, up till here, I don't have all the answer," and she started buying me books,
Mm.
and that's how I
Mm.
and until today, I love to learn. I love new things. I love to move from place to place. So yeah, it's I haven't changed much. I just changed
Mm.
maybe the subjects that I'm
Mm.
interested in.
Mm. Where on the planet were you based at that time?
Israel.
Oh, that was in Israel. Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. I was
Oh, which
born in
part? Where in
Israel.
Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, or which part of Israel?
At the time, we were living in a town near Tel Aviv.
Oh,
Yeah,
Tel Aviv. Okay. Mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've been there
Now
once.
it's
It's
not a
it's an
very
amazing
safe
country.
place. Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's a whole different story. Yeah, what's happening now? But yeah. So you are actually from Israel, and then but right now you're in Canada, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So how did all this migration and transformation happen? So 10-year-old Ronan then went to school, and then he made a decision to study something, or did you just follow your parents? So what happened next in your
Yeah.
journey?
So yeah, all of that and more. So basically, um, after school, I went traveling a little bit. I call it the University of Life. Just travel around. Uh, where you are. We went to Thailand, Nepal,
Mm,
Myanmar, which was called Burma at the time, Hong
mm-hmm.
Kong. So I traveled for several months, and then I went to college. I actually studied philosophy
Wow.
for everything,
Where was that?
and
That was still in Israel, or was that somewhere
yeah,
else?
that was also in the University of Tel Aviv.
Oh, philosophy. Holy cow. So
Yeah,
you can tell me
philosophy.
all about Kant and Nietzsche and all these fellas, what they had to say. Well,
Yeah,
it's also kind of a
that
strategy background. I mean, it's a nice foundation, to build a strategy, I guess, if you know philosophy. So that's definitely helpful.
Yeah, I think so. I think that philosophy has to do with marketing, with strategy, with a lot of
Mm,
things. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
that would be a very
Um,
interesting topic to go deep into, like how philosophy actually supports modern, like as of today, marketing strategies. That would be a nice conversation to have. But
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
that's a
maybe not
different
today.
podcast to have. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, so college, and then I lived in New York for a while. I joined um, the family business. My dad had a travel agency,
Mm,
tour operator thing, and I worked there for several years until I gave up. It's tough to work in a family business.
mhm.
Uh, Traveled again, lived in Brazil for a while, learned
Oh,
Portuguese,
oh.
then went back to Israel for several years, and then to the USA, and then I moved around and had businesses in all over the place.
Mm.
Um, uh,
What kind of business
I
did you have those days? Like when you moved to the USA, was that for business or for travel only?
yeah, it was for business. I was contracted by someone who wanted to promote their products. They weren't from the US. They were
Hmm.
from somewhere else.
Hmm.
That didn't work out actually. And I continued what I actually started before, which is like the consultancy that I had, mostly
Hmm.
about marketing. And at that time, I started focusing on e-commerce. That's how we met.
Hmm. Sure.
Amazon and Shopify and all this stuff. And we worked with many entrepreneurs and companies that um, wanted to go into e-commerce. It was much easier, several years ago, maybe.
Hmm.
uh, but that's what I was doing until recently.
Hmm. Hmm.
But again, as I told in the beginning of our conversation, it's I never felt that I'm effective enough, and I
Hmm.
wanted to be more effective, and that's how I got into coaching. I think that working one on one with the CEOs and their team, um, rather than consulting them, helping them arrive at the right solution, that's much more effective than what I
Hmm.
did until now.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so you had a transformation happening recently where you went from helping e-com sellers to actually being the coach for the whole business, and it's most likely not limited to e-commerce, right?
Not necessarily. So right
Yeah.
now, I'm not focusing specifically on e-commerce. The Metronomics system can help any business, any size of business, including
Mm-hmm.
startups.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm focusing more on small and medium-sized businesses and on
Mm-hmm.
startups. Those are the
Mm-hmm.
type that is my sweet spot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you made this transformation in your business model because you feel more purposeful and more effective at what you're doing now, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and more, and
Because
and
yeah.
and it's closer to what I actually want to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of, I feel that what I done until now was kind of a compromise to what I
Mm-hmm.
actually wanted to do,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
find the right way to do what I want to
Mm-hmm.
do, and
Mm-hmm.
Metronomics is actually the right path to that.
Wow. So I do congratulate you to having the courage and the insights, to come up with this new business model and new venture in your entrepreneurial journey. I think it always takes a lot of courage to make these shifts and take a new step into a new direction. But
Yeah,
I guess as entrepreneurs, we are guided by our purpose and our desire to help and grow. And obviously, that's what you're doing. So that's amazing.
yeah, yeah, and I love that. I've been a serial entrepreneur. I had an internet startup back in 2000, which has done pretty well. Although
Hmm.
the internet bubble burst, I was able to sell it later on and exit it.
Hmm.
Um, and then I had another startup which didn't work. Um, and so on and so forth. So I always like to start new things. I like to learn. I like to
Hmm.
study and learn. I'm like a lifetime learner.
Hmm.
I always like new things.
There you go. There you go. Which actually opens the door to the next question I would have asked you. What are your nuggets of wisdom? I mean, you have been learning so many things. And if you had to share your insights with someone who wants to start his business or entrepreneurial journey today, or maybe even 10-year-old Ronan, what would that be? What would you share with those who really want to get started and are maybe confused, maybe lost, and maybe don't really know, like, what is the strategy to build your own business?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is I already said that a couple of times already. Um, if you start a business or if you already have a business, your team is the most important things that you need to have. It doesn't matter, how good your products are, how good your strategy is. If you don't have the right team, you won't make it. You may make it until a certain point, and then you'll crash and burn. So um, I think team is the first and most important thing. Um,
Great.
and then when it comes to strategy, I would say one thing. Um, if when you compete in a certain market or in a certain industry, don't compete to be the best. Compete to be unique. Compete to be something that nobody else does. And part of what we teach as coaches is how to find this where is the white space, we call it, in your industry that you can
Mhm.
tap into and make yourself unique, your company unique
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
better,
Mhm.
and succeed like that.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
fantastic. I will write that down definitely. Don't compete to be the best, compete to be unique. Yeah, see,
Yeah.
that sounds like the title of a book, man. It's really
Yeah,
very inspiring.
I learn it's Shannon keeps saying that again and again. And I can recommend a couple of books that she wrote,
I would appreciate that.
which sparked in me, what I'm doing right now was sparked by one of her books. So I really think that if you're really looking into getting the most of your business, I think at least one of those books is really crucial for you to make this.
Yeah, let's include the book or the books in the description, man. Oh boy,
Yeah,
this is so much value you're giving us here today, Ronan. I'm so happy I invited you on this podcast because I believe there's a lot of more things that could come out of this, and I'm so grateful for you sharing your wisdom and your insights. Let's stay in touch, and of course,
yeah,
all the viewers that are with us until now, my appreciation for that. Thankful for all you guys watching. And if you want to engage with Mr. Ronan, there's a link below the video. And yeah, let's stay in touch and see where this journey will lead us.
yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me here.